Michaela and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about every single book that I have bought so far this year. Now this is actually just mostly books that I bought in like the last couple of months because almost the entire first half of the year, I want to say, I didn't buy any books. I was unemployed up until April, so the book buying budget was nothing, and then once I got my job I started buying some books again after, you know, making a little bit of money. Let's talk about all the books I bought so far. This is only going to increase by the end of the year because once I started buying books again, I'm like, I want to buy more. I crossed the bridge. Like when I was buying none, it was easy to buy none, but now that I bought one, I want to buy them all. It is a problem. Pray for my wallet. Thank you. So the first book that I bought this year is The Dragon Republic by R F Kuang. Now this is the second book in the Poppy War trilogy, and I got the Poppy War, the first book in the trilogy, for my birthday or Christmas. My birthday. They're really close together, so sometimes I get confused. That's why I couldn't remember. I'd gotten the Poppy War for my birthday, and after I had read it, I just absolutely needed to continue on the series. So I bought the second book, and I ended up reading this in June, and it was so good. This was a 5-star for me. It got me out of a reading slump. We are very grateful to this book in this household, and this household is just me, so like I am grateful to this book. Next was a bunch of books that I bought at the beginning of July, starting with Perilous Undertaking by Deanna Raybourn. This is the second book in the Veronica Speedwell mysteries series. The first book is A Curious Beginning, which I actually recently reread. I'm currently now reading A Perilous Undertaking. This is what I'm in the middle of. Both of these books were on my summer TBR. I'm excited to be reading this. I wanted to reread the first book before I read this one because it was over a year since I read it, and again, A Curious Beginning was a 5-star read for me, so like obviously I was gonna give myself an excuse to reread it. Why wouldn't I? So then I bought the second book because I do want to actually read this series and make my way through it. This is a series that I knew I was gonna like, so I wanted to buy it. So now that I'm buying books again, I am gonna try and like keep up with buying the next in this series relatively regularly so I can keep reading it within a reasonable span of time. But there are like 8 books in this series so far, and I don't think it's done yet. It's a cozy mystery series. It's also like historical. The dynamic and the banter between the two main characters in this series, Veronica and Stoker, are so good. It's so good. It's so fun. Also a good mystery, but it's a fun time. It's just an easygoing read with really nice characters. So obviously I want to read more of it. Come on. I also got Seven Husbands of Evelyn and Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid this year. This has been a book that's been on my TBR for so long. Like I want to say like 2 years. I had this on like my want to read list. Why I didn't read it was because I had decided that like I'm gonna buy this book because I'm gonna love this book. So I just kept not reading it because I was like, I'm gonna read it when I buy it, but then I like didn't buy it, and I was like, girl, why are you not buying this? You want to read it? And then I couldn't buy it because I was like, no books. You don't have the money to buy books. But then I did have the money to buy books, so I bought the book. And then I read the book, and I did like it. I'll tell you more about it in my August reading wrap-up. I don't want to spoil things, but I did read this book, and I do think I might be a Taylor Jenkins Reid girly. That's all I'll say. So I also bought The Burning God by R F Kuang this year. This is the third and final book in the Poppy War trilogy. I actually just finished reading this before I started reading A Perilous Undertaking. So I finished that series. Yay! A series that I was able to tick off my list. If you've been around here before, you know that this year I have been really trying to get through my currently reading series list to get that cut down to a much smaller number than it is. It's not like I'm reading a huge number of series. It's just more than I want to read as someone who likes to read books and series pretty close together. And then if it's been too long, I reread them. I want to keep it like 10 and under for what I'm currently reading. So if I have more than that, like I'm gonna be doing so much rereading that I'm not gonna get the new books very often. And I wanna like balance that. I wanna be able to do rereads, but I also wanna get through series. And I don't wanna feel like I'm missing out on things because I didn't reread before starting a series. So I gotta plan things out. But I did buy the third book. So the series is complete on my shelves and it is completely read. This series is so good. I get the hype. Like I love this series. It was so like thought-provoking and complex. The characters are great. The plot is tricky. There's so much like warfare, but like strategy that's talked about in the series. It's so good. The magic system is like super interesting. I just like all of it. I liked all of the series. I will be rereading the series at some point for sure. But for now, I've finished the series and I'll be moving on to other ones. But I think I'll probably revisit it at some point in the future because I just really enjoyed reading the series. Like all of these books, one of the things, like, I think all of them are over 600 pages and like I read this in like less than a week, which is pretty decent for me because I usually don't read that quick, but I did this time. Tells you how good at the books they are. So then I also bought Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I honestly, like, I don't know much about this book at all. I haven't read this book yet, but like, look at the name of this book. How was I supposed to not buy it? It's so intriguing. And then the little bit of what I have seen from other people talking about it is that people have enjoyed it. So I wanna read this book soon. I'm gonna read it and I'm hopefully gonna love it. This is a like murder mystery book. I believe it's a murder mystery. I feel like there's definitely murder involved. Hello. But I feel like it's gonna have like a nice like sarcastic kind of dark humor, dry humor edge to it based off of the titling. So I'm excited for this. I feel like it's gonna be a good read. I feel like it's gonna be a good read. I don't wait for like the right moment where I feel like this is the time to read this book. And the last few books that I have are actually ones that I like just bought recently, and it's what made me feel like recording a book haul to begin with. So the first one I have here is The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the third book in the Inheritance Games, I guess, series. I was gonna say trilogy, but I think she's coming out with a fourth book that's like a companion novel, but I think it's technically in the series this year. Anyway, this is the third book, and I only just bought it because I was waiting for it to come out in paperback because I own the first two in paperback, and because this only released like last year, it was only available in hardcover until like a couple weeks ago. So I finally bought it because I am planning on rereading the Inheritance Games and then moving on to the series. This is going to be the next series that I'm going to try and like take off of my currently reading series list because it is a trilogy. I have all three books. I absolutely binge read the Inheritance Games the first time I read it and loved it, so I feel like there's no reason for me to not finish up this series relatively quickly and have a good time while doing so. You know? Stay tuned to see me reading this series at some point. Maybe I'll like make a video, like a reading vlog of reading the whole series, like rereading the Inheritance Games and then rereading the other two books. Perhaps. Oh my god, maybe I'll do that. That's an idea I just came up with just right now. Oh my god. Then, oh my god. Are you okay? So then I bought A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Now I have actually read this book and I read it through Libby, and I wanted to buy it because I really liked it. I had a really good time with it, and I feel like I didn't get the best experience reading it through Libby on my iPad because this is like a multimedia book. So I feel like the little maps and drawings and notebooks and things that are in this book just like didn't do the format of the book justice in the digital format because it was kind of like a little wonky. So I did want to buy the book because I also want to reread this book too. I like saw Mel Reid's vlog where she actually reread the Inheritance Games and A Good Girl Guide to Murder, and it made me want to reread both of them, which is why I'm about to start rereading the Inheritance Games to finish up the series, and I also ended up buying A Good Girl's Guide to Murder so I could reread this book at some point as well. I was in fact influenced. My bad. There we go. I did buy one other book, but it's not ready to pick up at the bookstore yet, and that is the mass market paperback for The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson. It's the first book in Era 2 of Mistborn, which is another series that I want to start in the fall, so I figured if I was buying books I might as well buy it, and I thought it'd be ready to pick up today because it said there was like 2 in stock at the store, but for whatever reason all of my other things were ready to pick up today, but that one's not. I'm gonna have to pick it up later in the week. Doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what Indigo is going on with there. You think you just give me the book that you have, but they didn't. Whatever, that's cool, that's fine. I'm not like planning on reading it right away anyway, but it would have been nice to have to hold it up, show you guys. But yeah, so that is all of the books that I have bought so far this year, which is 8 books in total, which is not too bad. That averages out to only like 1 book for every month of the year that's happened so far, even though I bought like 90% of these in the last 2 months. But we're just like ignoring that fact. We're gonna average it out over the 12 and justify it to ourselves that way. That's how we're doing it. I know like this is not like a huge number of books in the book community to be hauling at one time even, but I'm really not someone who's trying to just buy every book as much as I want to. Trust me, I want to. But I am somebody on a budget, and I am trying to be more conscious of exactly what I'm buying, especially in books. I want to make sure I'm buying things that I'm like either know that I will like because it's the next one in the series, or it's a book I've already read that I want to reread. You know, like I don't want to be spending my money on books that I might not like. So I gotta really think things through in order to buy these books. But I am planning on buying more for the rest of the year. So I might do another book haul, maybe at like the end of the year. I feel like I don't buy enough to be doing them like super regularly, but it is kind of fun. I want to be adding more books to my bookshelf. I want to fill it up. I actually do want to start buying some more classics, like the Penguin like paperbacks. You know, the ones that have like the stripes on the side, on the spine. Yeah, I feel like I might buy a few of those because I saw a couple Jane Austen ones at the bookstore today that I liked and they intrigued me, and I was like, ooh, I wouldn't mind owning that. And I do plan on the top shelf of my bookshelf being for classics. I do have a bookshelf tour on my channel if you want to have a look at that. It is kind of old now. I'm gonna do a new one probably at the like beginning of the year because like not too much has changed even though I'm adding books. But the top shelf of my bookshelf, I do want it to be for classics, but I do only have 1 book on that shelf at the moment. So I feel like that is a thing that I should aim to expand because my fantasy shelves are filling up pretty quickly and the classic shelf is looking pretty drab, pretty empty, pretty void of books. Maybe I'll add some of those to my book buying plans in the near future. But for now, you know, oh my god, okay, picking up a stack of books from the floor while I'm sitting down was a bad plan. For now, this is all of the books. This? No. God, ew, grammar, Michaela. Come on, you went to university for how many years? But for now, these are all the books that I've bought so far this year. And I've either read all of them or I'm planning to read them pretty soon, or I'm in the middle of reading it. So I don't have too much of a physical TBR to get through on my shelves, which is nice, but I am working my way through all of the books I haven't read. I do prefer reading physical books, so now that I have physical books and I have money to buy physical books to read for myself, I really feel like I'm living my best life. I feel like I've been reading a lot more when I read physical books because I just like reading physically more than digitally, as much as I do love a free book on Libby, and there are some books that I am still reading through that. But you know, when I have physical books that I can be reading that I haven't read yet, I'm gonna choose to read them because this is my preferred way to read a book. There you go. If you happen to like this video, make sure to give it a like, give it a little thumbs up. If you happen to like me, consider subscribing. I'd be happy to have you. How many books have you bought so far this year? Do you even know? Go count them, come back and tell me, because you know, We love to buy a book around here. In this community, that's one thing we definitely like to do. Tell me how many have you bought, and also let me know like what's like the best one that you bought, whether it's like special edition, it's the prettiest book, it's your favorite book, it was just a really good book, it's a surprise book that you bought and ended up loving, like whatever makes it stand out, like let me know. I want to know because I'm nosy. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Bye bye.